Class is now in session. I'm Professor Hockey, and today we'll be discussing some very, very sad news if you're a Sharks fan, and that is that Joe Thornton has signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs at a one-year deal worth a league minimum $700,000. And Joe Thornton has been a Shark ever since he arrived here from Boston in that trade back in 2005. And he's always just, at least from my perspective, really been the guy on San Jose. I know a lot of people like to think of Patrick Marleau. Of course, Marleau's tenure was much longer, as he ended up being drafted by the Sharks in 1997 compared to the Joe Thornton, who spent 8 years with the Bruins. But from my perspective, I have been watching the Sharks since it's been Thornton and Marleau, and I always really viewed Thornton as the main guy on San Jose, which is one of the main reasons why this contract is just so disappointing to see. I obviously understand it from Thornton's perspective. I know he wanted to be traded at the deadline this past season, like Marleau got traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins to be given a chance to win the Stanley Cup, and he was somewhat disappointed when the Sharks did not actually end up doing that. And so it seems as though this offseason he thought, well, if the Sharks aren't going to trade me at the deadline to a contender, if the Sharks aren't contending, I might as well sign with one. And while the Leafs maybe aren't a top contender in the league, I mean, they're no Boston, they're no Tampa, they're no Colorado, they're no Vegas, it is likely that the Leafs will have an easier path to the playoffs than the San Jose Sharks do have. And another big reason why this is quite sad at this point is that when it was Patrick Marleau leaving back in the, I believe, before the 16-17 season, if I'm not mistaken, he left for a 3-year deal worth $6 million a year. I believe even a bit higher than that. And that was just an impossible contract for the Sharks to match. It was just something that, and it was also something that Marleau just couldn't refuse at that point in his career. So it really felt as though Marleau was just doing what's best for his family and things like that. When it comes to Joe Thornton, however, I'd be extremely, extremely surprised and disappointed in Doug Wilson if he didn't offer Joe Thornton not only a similar contract to this, which being the league minimum, but potentially even a contract worth slightly more than this. So it's not a situation where it was like Marleau, who he could not refuse such a generous offer from the Leafs. This was one that Thornton specifically chose the Toronto Maple Leafs over the San Jose Sharks in what could potentially be Thornton's final year in the NHL, though I feel like I've been saying that the past few seasons. And so it does, obviously I'm not meaning that this is some sort of bad move by Thornton or some sort of mean move. He has given this organization so much in these past 15 years, and unfortunately the Sharks have never been able to really deliver the ultimate goal of winning the Stanley Cup. It's just, at this point, so sad to really see him depart, and it's going to be very, very strange to have a Sharks game against the Toronto Maple Leafs and have the Sharks face off against Thornton. It was weird with Marleau. It's going to be even weirder with Thornton to see that happen, but, hopefully I wish him the best of luck there. I doubt that they're going to be able to win the Stanley Cup. It just doesn't really seem in the cards for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't think they really fixed many of their holes this offseason, and so, Thornton, he'll get to play in the playoffs, and that's something he might not have been able to do with the Sharks, but who knows if he'll actually get to where he wants to be. Class dismissed.